Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashamtaye. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam Suragurum Jagadekanatham Bhaktapriyam Sakala Loka Namaskrutam Cha Traigunya Varjitam Ajam Vibhumadhyamisham Vande Bhavagnam Amarasura Siddhavandyam Narayanam Namaskritya Naracham Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha.
That was nice, Dr. Srinath. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste to everybody. Okay. Before we start today and we move on to Dushyantha's story, I want to narrate one rare story about Shukracharya before we leave Yayati. Shukracharya and his wife. I don't think many people know the story about this one, which I'm going to narrate now. In the end, you can tell me you did or you did not know about this. Shukracharya happens to be actually the son-in-law of Indra. How did this happen? Shukracharya goes to penance to get the Sanjeevani from Mahashiva. When he goes for penance, whenever somebody is doing serious penance, Indra is always jealous and he is always afraid of his position. So he wants to disturb it as usual. So this time he tells his daughter Jayanti, her name is Jayanti, he tells his daughter to go and disturb his penance. Jayanti first refuses. Then Indra says, if the Asuras get the Sanjeevani, we will be in great trouble. So in order to protect us, you need to go. Then Jayanti reluctantly accepts. She goes there to Shukracharya. It is in the beginning stage of his penance. She will surrender to him and say, look, I want to serve you. Okay. Shukracharya accepts it. So she makes all the preparations for his yajna and penance and all those things. She keeps on doing it. She's helping him. And as the penance becomes more austere and more severe, there are different stages and levels. First, you eat all the food and then you eat only one time a day. Another time only, you skip the meal and you eat only the water. And then no water, air, like this. So he keeps on going stages by stages. That's how he is progressing his penance. Then what happens? One day will come in which he will have to do the penance by taking the air only, meaning the air means from Ashwatha leaves. The Ashwatha leaves to be burnt and the smoke or the fragrance that comes from that, that's the one that he has to take it as food. That's how he started doing it. Jayanti thought, look, this will be the best time for me to, disturb his penance. She takes the chili sauce or chili paste and puts things on the leaves of those Ashwatha leaves. So when the leaves are put in the fire, the smoke comes out. Now, Shukracharya will not stop his penance with all the thing that's coming around. It comes so severe, even he starts bleeding from his nose, mouth, and ears. Even Shukracharya doesn't stop. He starts praying for Mahadeva. Then by looking at this, Mahadeva says, look, I cannot take my bhaktas, suffering like this. And he appears in front of him and then gives him Sanjeevani. So that's that side of the story. Now, all the asuras saw Jayanti doing this mischief. They were after her. Shukracharya said, no, don't do anything for her. Leave her alone. I'm going to excuse her because perhaps she did this to me. I got the darshana of Ishvara very soon. If she didn't do it, I don't know how long I had to wait. So she actually helped me. So he excuses her. Jayanti is extremely moved by this. She says, look, I know this time I really want to serve you forever in eternity. Please accept me as your wife. Shukracharya, in all sincerity, because she's telling in all sincerity, he accepts and they get married. And then they will get a daughter, Devayani, and then we heard the story from that point. That was one rare story I wanted to share with you. Now, coming back to today's story. After Yayati, several kings come in this Chandravamsha, the Chandra dynasty. Then Dushyantha is one of the kings. He is one of the famous kings. He ruled extremely well. In the city or town or the kingdom that he was ruling, there were no illnesses. Okay. And even they say that the hell was getting empty. That's how good a leader he was. One day, it so happens, he goes for hunting and he enters Kanva's ashrama in the forest. As he enters the ashrama, he gets a very great, pleasant feeling. How nice the ashram is, with the nice breeze, fragrance of the flowers, and Vedas chanted by the rishis that are there. He was extremely pleased. So he enters through there and he goes to Kanva's place, ashrama. And he says, anybody home? He starts cooking. Kanva is not there. He has gone elsewhere. So this Shakuntala opens the door. As soon as he saw her, something, attracted him. And he said, look, this should become my wife. So he got love struck. And then he asked, look, who are you? Then she says, I am Kanva's daughter. He says, no, you can't be. Kanva is like a sannyasi. He is a brahmachari. How can he have a daughter for you? Then she says, actually, I have heard some people talk here when Munis or Rishis come here, they have overheard the talk. And then she tells her life story to Dushyantha. Look, once Vishwamitra was doing a great tapas or penance to get Brahmatva. By birth he is a Kshatriya. He wants to become a Brahmin or a Brahmatva he wants to get. So he's doing the great penance. As usual, our Indra wants to disturb his penance. This time he sends Menaka, the Apsara. Look, you go and disturb his penance. Menaka says, no, he may curse me, this and that. He gives all reasons. And then she accepts it also because she was cursed by some other person somewhere that she has to go and spend some time in Bhuloka. Then she asks Indra, look, you must help me also. You should send 2 other people with me. One is Vayudeva and another one is Manmatha. Okay. Indra summons Vayu and Manmatha and they agree to go. She goes in front of Vishwamitra, who is doing the tapas. Now she has to wait for the right time. When he just woke up from his penance, when he opened his eyes, she passed in front of him, at which time Vayudeva blew hard and her seragu, or the top portion of the sari, blew out. And Manmatha at that time threw his arrow, Manmatha Bana, he threw it up. So Vishwamitra got attracted to Menaka. Then Vishwamitra said, look, I'm attracted to you. Will you marry me? She said, okay, you are a great sage, so I will marry you. Then they got married. And some time passed, so years passed. Menaka's main purpose was to disturb his penance. So as she spent more and more time with him, she was realizing, oh, Vishwamitra is losing more and more divine power. Okay? And it so happened, Menaka became pregnant. And she even delivered a baby girl. At which time, Vishwamitra had lost all the Daivic powers that he had. Then Menaka said to herself, look, this is the time for me to go. As we have talked before, these apsaras don't have any kind of attachment to anybody. They spend time with this person, that person, and all those things. And that is their system. Okay, we are not here to judge their system. That is their culture. Okay. So she leaves the baby there and goes away. Vishwamitra looks at the baby, thinks, look, I fell into this trap. My God, I should not do this. He also abandons the baby, and then he goes to go to another place for his to continue his penance. Now the newborn baby is in the woods in the base of one of the trees. Okay. Then what happens? There are several Shakuntha. They are called Shakanta Pakshis. They are birds. Those birds see the baby and they have real kindness towards the baby. They chirp around and pleases the baby. And at that time, Kanwa was walking nearby. They go and attract his mind and bring him over to the baby. Now Kanwa sees this little girl. He says, oh, what a kind of a baby. It's a blessing for me from God. So I'm going to take this baby and think that she's my daughter, and takes that baby. And names her Shakuntala because it was protected from the Shakunta Pakshis, Shakunta birds. Then what happens? Shakuntala is growing in excuse me, just one second, I have to put something here. Then what happens? Shakuntala is growing in Kanva's ashrama. She becomes like a teenager and a big girl. Now she has learned all kinds of Vedas and she has plenty of knowledge. At which time, our friend Dushyantha comes, as we told you. And now she tells the story, look, this is what my birth story is. Now, Dushyantha says, look, I want to marry you, okay? And please marry me. She says, look, my dad is not here. How can I marry you? Says, look, I'm highly attracted to you and you are also attracted to me, I know, okay? You are you are not just a Rishikanya, you are a special person for me. I want to marry you. And by the way, I have to let you know that by this time already Dushyanta is married to a person by name Lakshana. And he also has a son by name Janamejaya. It is not the same Janamejaya as Parikshit's son. No, that's not the same Janamejaya. It's a different Janamejaya. Okay. Then Shakuntala says, all right, if that is to be your wish, I'm going to ask you a favor. My son should be the successor for your kingdom. Dushyanta says, yes, okay. Then Shakuntala says, let's wait for my dad. Then she says, look, we don't know when he is going to come. He has gone out of town, out of the ashram you are telling for something. I have Rajakarya, for the king, there is a lot of work to do in the kingdom. So he has to go. So we will do the Gandharva Vivaha. They do Gandharva Vivaha. Okay. Then Dushyanta goes back to his kingdom, assuring her, look, I'm going to send my group, my troop, or with all the pomp, I will bring you back to the palace and we will celebrate there. And then he goes away. Yeah. Then after a couple of days, Kanwa comes. Then she's bashful already, she's very reluctant to tell any news to him. And Kanwa knows, so there is something wrong here. What's going on? So, oh daughter, what's happening? Tell me what's going on. Then she explains what all things had happened and begs the forgiveness of his father, of her father. Then he says, okay, all right, that's fine. I thought that you should get married soon also. Now that job searching for a groom is also over for me. I'm glad that you got the great king. So it's very nice. Let him come and take you. So they spent some time there. Now it has so happened, she has become pregnant. Now 9 months passed. She is about to deliver. She, by her willpower and Daivic power, she holds the garbha or the pregnancy for 3 years. Even though Dushyantha has not sent anybody. Here I have to say there are 2 types of stories here. One is North Indian and one is South Indian. I'm going to tell the North Indian version first and then tell the South Indian version. I really like the South Indian version. I'll give you my reasons. Of course, you all have your own reasons to pick whichever one that you like. First, I'm going to the North Indian version. Okay. 3 years passed and the guy has not come. Then Kanwa says, look, you cannot hold the, you have to deliver. Shakuntala reluctantly delivers the baby. Baby grows in the ashrama. He is highly pleaseful to everybody in the ashram. Everybody loves the baby. And he's becoming very strong. Even at the age of 5, he's already playing with the wild beasts like lions, tigers, bears, and all those things. They're all under his control. He's playful. That's how strong he was. Because he was doing all those things, they named him Sarva Damana, meaning Sarva, to everybody. Damana means beat them up in case they misbehave. That's he was called, Sarva Damana. Then, totally 15 years passed. Now the boy is about 12 years old now. Then Kanwa says, look, after 12 years, if you don't see your wife or husband or relative or son, daughter, or anybody, the relation does not exist anymore. So you need to go and see your husband, see what has happened, and you have to join him. Shakuntala reluctantly agrees. The boy doesn't want to go because I want to stay here only. I want to stay with Ajja, the grandfather. But then Kanwa tells Sarvadamana, look, you have to please your mother. You have to take care of your mother. And you cannot just stay here. You have to go. Sarvadamana reluctantly agrees. Then Kanwa instructs some of his disciples like rishis, look, you go with Shakuntala and Sarvadamana to the kingdom and do not enter the city. You all leave her in the border of the city and you come back. Only those 2, let them go into the town. The rishis are happy to go to the town. They take Shakuntala and Sarvadamana to the town, and near the border they are thinking, look, what should we do? Well, let's go and explore the city also. Why do we have to stay outside? Let's go just for a while, couple of days and come back. So they enter the town with her. Here some strange things happen. As you can understand, rishis and munis at that time, because of their penance and prayers and fasting and what have you, they're all skinny, like skeletons. So they're all so thin, they're looking like skeletons. When they're walking in the city, people are talking and making fun of them by telling, look, hey, look at that. Hey, the skeleton is walking there. Oh, it looks like some clothing is just put on the skeleton and the skeleton is walking. These kind of remarks they heard. Then they said to them, so look, maybe perhaps this is the reason Kanva said not to enter the city, we should go back. So they decided to go back to the ashram and told Sarvadamana and Shakuntala, look, you're on your own. You go to the palace and do what you have to do. And your husband, and good luck to you, we bless you. Then what happens? She goes to the town and then goes into the palace and goes and faces Dushyantha. Dushyantha doesn't recognize her at all. She asks, look, I'm here, your wife. Don't you see me? She says, no, I don't know what the hell you are talking about. You're my wife. How can you say you're my wife? Look at you. How do you look? I'm the king, and how can I see you? Then she tries to tell all kinds of stories. Her birth story, how it happened, how Menaka is the mother, Vishwamitra is the father, and all the things she says. He says, no, I won't accept that. He says, look at the son. Your son is special here, and he's like you. Oh, look at what he's like that. He's like an elephant. That's all, a big muscle, strong, muscular, and this and that. Just because he's grown up, it doesn't mean that he's like me. Even in our palace, there are some wrestlers who are there who are looking like this. Don't tell me all those things. He's not my son and you are not my wife. I don't know what the hell you are talking about. How can I come and spend time with you or anything? Then she starts telling, look, you know, because we did Gandharva Vivaha, you think, by the way, this is what I want to give. Mahabharata or Vyasa is giving us so much of message and moral story here. We have to grasp on that, okay? Indirectly, he's giving us all the story. It's not just for Dushyantha she's telling. One, even though she grew in the forest, she was highly knowledgeable and she knew all the things. And how she advises Dushyantha, you will see. There are about 30, 40 pages of this story in Mahabharata. And I'm going to tell just some of it now here. Says, look, you think that there was nobody? Look, there was sun up there, moon in the night, okay, year round, they were all witnesses for our marriage. More than anything else, your Atma, yourself, that is the best thing. You can cheat anybody, how can you cheat yourself? But you know that you did it. Okay. Then he says, look, all the ladies are like, you guys are liars and you're doing all those things, and I don't believe what you are telling me. And even goes to the extent of telling, look, you are, as you said, Menaka's daughter. Who is Menaka? She is the prostitute in the heaven. So you are behaving that way. Now this gets to the nerve of Shakuntala. She challenges him. What? You think that I am that way? Now let me tell you about your Purvajanmas. Look at your dynasty. Whom did Puru marry? Puru married Urvashi. Urvashi is also an Apsara. If my mother is a prostitute, Urvashi is also a prostitute. How can you tell me that? So you come from there, and when in our language we say, meaning when you see a big buffalo in your plate, dead buffalo, you are pointing out at a small ant or a fly that's on another person's plate. You start criticizing others instead of looking at your own. Look what you have done. You think that you are better than me? Then she's challenging him. Then he says, she continues to say, look, I am your dharma patni, meaning my job is to see that you go in dharma path. Now I'm trying to do that for you. Okay, I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm trying to bring you into dharma path. Okay, accept me and my son Sarvadamana as yours. That's the correct dharma to do. I am the wife, meaning dharma patni. Actually, dharma patni should be respected like mother because they are called Jaya. Jaya means husband, they cannot stay in this world forever. So they, through the wife, they bring the son into this world. And so son is the representation of the father. And because of that continuation, they are respected. A wife should be respected like mother. And here you are insulting me. Okay? You are not supposed to do that. Do you know what's going to happen when you die? One day or the other, we are all going to die. Then she tells about several things. When you die, you go to Yamadharmaraya's place through the southern door, at which time there are people who greet you. Okay? Those people will bring you there and they count all the sins and good things that you have done. And as witnesses, even sun, moon, air, and all those people come if they need any witnesses to tell it. And more than that, your own Atma will be a Sakshi or the witness for you. Okay? In that place, those Chitraguptas, they will take the account for you. What are you going to say at that time? Okay? Then she challenges him more and more, and she gives him left and right. At that time, she even says the story of the Animandavya. Look, you are over 12 years of age. You know why the 12-year age border is for the thing? For any punishment or anything? Let me tell you the story of Mandavya. Then she narrates the story of Mandavya to him. What happens is, there is a sage called Mandavya, and he's a great sage, Mahamani, in his Rishi, in his ashram, he was there. It so happened, the thieves stole some jewelry from the palace and they were running away. At which time, the soldiers came after them. The thieves, when they saw Rishi's ashram, in Mandavya Rishi's ashram, they put all the jewelry there and they started hiding. The soldiers came and they thought Mandavya was the leader of those thieves, and so they thought that he is the culprit and he is the thief or the robber. They took him to the king. King not asking any further questions, just like this one, okay, give them that, like the death sentence. At that time, the death sentence was like putting like a trident in the rear. Okay, like this. If you see in the picture, the Mandavya Mahamuni is sitting on a trident, and there are several other people also sitting in there. Okay, that is the picture of the day here. Now, Mandavya, because of the Devic power that he had, he didn't die. He was still praying Lord Shiva, saying, look, Lord, what is this punishment for me? What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong at all. I'm just doing prayer for you, and here they come and they arrest me, take me there, and they put me into this trident. What's going on? Then he says, look, ask Yamadharma. Okay, I will ask Yamadharma. In between, what has happened is, because he's still alive and he's breathing and all those things, the soldiers thought, look, this person should be really special. They go back to the king and say, look, this is what has happened. He's still alive and he's, doing the penance. Then the king is thinking again twice, look, perhaps I did something wrong. He runs there, and there's a king on the right side, comes and begs his pardon. Look, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I did all those things. So he begs the pardon. Mandavya Muni, excuses him. And they tried to remove the trident, but they could not remove that one completely. Some part remains on him. That's why he's called Ani Mandavya. Ani means like an eye. Ani Mandavya, from then he became famous. Then by his yogic powers, he went to Yamadharma and asked him, look, why did you punish me like this? What did I do? Then Yamadharma told him, look, when you were a child, you were teasing the butterflies, you were catching them and piercing the rear with the broomstick or darbhe. Because you are doing that, so this is a punishment for you. Then Mandavya says, look, that doesn't look reasonable. Child doesn't know what he or she is doing. You cannot punish a person unnecessarily when a person doesn't know what it is or what he or she is doing. Children should be excused. And then from then on, he made a rule. He gave thing to Yamadharma saying, effective today, you cannot judge anybody under 12 years of age for their sins or mistakes. Okay? And not only that, because you do not know what the earthly sufferings and situation is, you come down to earth as an earthling. So he curses him. That's how Yamadharma came as Vidura in Mahabharata. Okay, Vidura's term. So that is Animandaviya's story. Then she says, then she continues to advise Dushyanta. Look, I have the power to burn all this place, including you. But I won't do it. You know why? Because I have to do Patni Dharma. I have to protect you, the prajas, the citizens, and the kingdom. So I don't want to do that. Remember what Sita said in Ramayana to Ravana? Look, I can burn you to you, I can take care of you today, but I don't have the permission of Rama to do that for you. In other words, at those times, the ladies and Rishikanyas had the full greatest power to do, but they all held it under control. Then the conversation goes on for a long period of time. Then she says, look, by telling you all these things, you are useless. I cannot stay in this place anymore. May God protect me. Then she starts walking out. Right at that time, heavenly words come. Devatas will speak. Ashariravani, meaning bodiless talk from the Devatas, saying, oh Dushyanta, she is really your wife. Sarvadamana is your son. Accept him as your wife and daughter. Then Dushyanta comes running to Shakuntala and hugs her and begs her pardon because he says, you know why I kept quiet? I recognized you as soon as you walked in. But if I accept you, what do the court or the people think? Oh, a beautiful girl came in there and so king accepted her as a person to take her. Then it will be a shame on you and shame on me. So I wanted the divine powers to say that, so all the people in my kingdom would believe that you are genuinely my wife. So please excuse me for the harsh words and all those things. And also Shakuntala also says, please excuse me for using all the bad words. Then he accepts Sarvadamana as his son. At that time, even the gods or the Ashriravani says, look, that Sarvadamana will be called from now on Bharata because he is going to hold the full weight of the kingdom, Bharata. So that's why he will continue as the Bharata kingdom. And they carry on. Okay. This is the North India version. The South Indian version is slightly different. What happens is, after Dushyanta goes back, she is thinking of Dushyanta only, husband, because newly married, At that time, some sage or some rishi will come there to the ashram. She, not knowingly, she ignores him because she is in a different world or a different mood altogether. The rishi recognizes it and look, what is this? She is not treating me properly at all. Bandhu, as soon as I come here, they should give some arghya, pana, meaning like water, seat and all those things. That's our cultural custom. This young lady is just sitting there thinking of something else. He gets a little upset. So that sage curses her to say, whatever you are thinking or whomever you are thinking of, let him forget you. Then she realizes what the mistake she made. So she begs the pardon. Even the Kanwa comes and tells sage, look, this is what has happened. She's newly married, and so you have to please excuse her. Then what happens? They say, all right, there will be a relief. That is, if that person sees anything as a mark on you, as a token that he has offered to you or you have from him, if he sees that, then he will get the full remembrance or he will get the full knowledge of you. Then the life goes on. One day it so happens she was taking a shower or a bath in the river, at which time she takes out the ring, the wedding ring kind of a thing, the wedding band that Dushyantha had given, takes it out and puts it out on a little rock and goes and takes the bath. At which time a bird will come and take the ring and goes away. She doesn't know what has happened. The ring is not there. Then what happens? In the palace where this all conversation going on between Dushyantha and this, in the end, right at the time she is about to leave, some soldiers bring this ring showing Dushyantha, look, king, we found the Rajamudra or the king's ring here, and it was in a fish. It had so happened that bird carried it somewhere and dropped it in a river or some place where the fish had eaten the ring. And when the fishermen caught the fish, when they opened it, they found the ring. And when they saw the king's impression there, they thought, oh, no, we should give it back. So they brought it there to the king's palace. Right at that time, when he sees that ring, all the cloud that he had in his mind goes away. He remembers Shakunthala, and then he said, oh, yeah, please come, I remember you now. Now, this is how the South Indian version is. Now I will tell you my reason as to why I like the South Indian story instead of the North Indian thing. You see, as a common person, if you go and get married somewhere and come back to the palace or anywhere, go abroad to go India and get married, or from India come to US and get married and go back, okay? Then several days, you'll be thinking of that person, you just cannot forget it. For 12 years or 15 years, that scene will not come in front of you. So as a human, I cannot get the fact that Dushyantha can completely forget. So there should be some reason. That reason was the curse. So that's my interpretation. Okay. So you all can have your own interpretation and the stories. There's a North Indian and South Indian stories. Okay. Now that's Sarvadamana has become Bharata. Now after Dushyantha's time, Bharata rules the kingdom. That's why it's called Bharata Khande, Bharata Varsha all came in that name, and they live very happy. Then let's go to the next. Okay. Then what happens? After Bharata, there are several other people come in between. Like Hasti, he's the one who built the Hastinapura, and his town was called Hastinapura, and moved the capital to Hastinapura. Then came Samvarana, then Tapati, then Kuru. Then Kuru was also another famous king in Chandravamsha or Chandra dynasty. He's the one who built that Kurukshetra. So that's where the big Mahabharata war took place. Okay. Then after Kuru, a king by name Pratipa came in. Pratipa, this becomes more interesting from now on. I think this is a common thing that you would have all heard. Pratipa had 3 children: Devabdhi, Bahlika, and Shantanu. Devabdhi is the first son. He had some skin disease and he is always oriented to the god. And that's one rare story which I'm going to narrate now. And this, okay, I will tell the story now and then we'll go to the others. This person abandons the kingdom. I don't want the kingdom. So he's the eldest. Okay. So he says, I don't want the kingdom. What I need is one small place for a little hut outside the city. So where I could be praying Lord Shiva. So his Pratipa said, okay, you can have the place. So Devabhi goes there and doing the puja and yajna to Lord Shiva. He had a special system. What it is that he would get the roots and fruits from the forest, and in the evening he should offer it to somebody and then he should eat. If nobody comes there, he doesn't eat that day. He will skip the day that day. Then next day it's the same roti. Once Ishvara and Parvati are in Kailasa, they are looking at the world, and Parvati asks, who is your real bhakta in this place? Then Ishvara shows, look, that Devabhi, he is real bhakta. Let's see. Then, okay. Then the things go on. This is the test that goes on to this Bahlika. Sorry, this Devabhi. One day, nobody comes in the evening for food, in the evening. So he doesn't eat that day. Like this, 7 days passed. All the 7 days, this guy has not eaten. So he's becoming weak and weak. On the 10th day, a hunter would come. And he says, Devabhi offers food to him in the evening. He says, no, I have to go back to my house. My wife and children are waiting. I cannot have food here for me. Then he goes away. Now he is really weak. He doesn't know what to do. The next day, the same thing continuing. This time, a Brahma Rakshasa will come, meaning like a demon who eats human body. He comes there. This Devabhi offers the food to him. He says, look, I don't eat this kind of food. I eat only the human meat, human food. I don't eat all these things. Then Devabhi thinks, look, oh Lord, I'm weak already now. I'm so much weak now. I may die today or tomorrow. Okay? Instead, let me be the food for this guy. Okay? Let him be the food for this guy, and in that way, he will be pleased and you will be pleased, and I'm praying, and then please give me this salvation. Then Brahmaraj, okay, take me. She says to Brahmarakshasa, look, you take me. You eat me. Brahmarakshasa says, no, I won't eat you because I eat only the dead people. I don't come and, feed the live people. I can't do that. Then this guy goes, Devabhi goes, and his clothing that he had hung on the clothing line, he puts his neck over that and then he falls down to die. So Brahmarakshasa could take him. At that time, Brahmarakshasa really appears like Lord Ishvara. Then that was Ishvara that was testing him to see what he would do. And he blesses him and gives him the moksha or salvation. And it is said that the same person was Prahlada in the previous birth, and the same person came as Madhvacharya in our this one. Okay, that's what it is said in the Puranas. By the way, this story I got from the Raghavendra Purana. Okay, so that's the source of this. Now that's about Devabhi, the first guy. Now the second guy is Bahlika. The Bahlika, he was given like Dattu to his grandfather. Let me explain how it works. There is one correct word for it. I'm not coming out with that. What happens is when the father-in-law gives a daughter to the son, if the father-in-law does not have any male children, he puts a condition. Look, I will give you the daughter on the condition that your son should be given to me, called Putrika. Putrika is the name. That he becomes a Putrika. Meaning your son should, like for me, like a gift. Okay, so you have to give. That's the condition he had. So Bahlika was given to his grandfather as a putrika. So Bahlika is out of this town now. So he is in a different kingdom. So the last one is Shantanu. Shantanu is very famous, as you all know. Shantanu is the father of Bhishma or Devavrata. So we will talk about him more and more. Mahabharata describes Shantanu's story for a long time and many pages on that. Shantanu is ruling the kingdom. Okay. And how did Shantanu born? What happened to him? How did it all come about? Once, it is a long story. What happens is Ganga, river Ganga, and ocean. Okay. It is said ocean is Varuna. Varuna is male, Ganga is female. They join. When they join, they sound, and this comes like a together, back and forth, like an estuary. That's the sound that makes. And also, sometimes when it clashes, the big waves and this one will turn and fall away. It so happens, one day, Chaturmukha Brahma was doing some kind of a penance or tapas, whatever, in the banks of that estuary. You see, when they are doing this kind of a tapas, because of the clash between the Ganga and the Varuna, the big salt water fell on the face of Chaturmukha Brahma. Then Chaturmukha Brahma became angry. Who is disturbing my peace and penance? He became peace, Shanto Bhava, Shanta. Okay. That's how Varuna became Shantanu. We'll talk about that later, because he said Shanta. Then he curses him, saying, because you disturbed me, you have to be born in this earth, okay, as a human being. And your name will be Shantanu. Shanta, Shantanu. That's how Varuna was born as Shantanu. As far as Ganga is concerned, she curses Ganga, saying, you become his wife and you will be with him for a while. Later, what happens? In one of the Devasabha, this Varuna is like a Mahabhishak Raja. Mahabhishak is his name. Okay. He is from Surivamsha. He was there. At which time, in Brahma Sabha, this Mahabhishak is there and Ganga walks by, at which time the wind blows and Ganga's again Sergo, or the top portion of the sari, flows out. And it was the custom that for all devatas, when a lady is in some kind of a distress or like that, for all of them to face down or cover the face or don't look at the person. But whereas this Mahabhishak, actually he is Varuna, because that's his wife anyway. So he was still staring at Ganga. Then Indra says, okay, because you are still looking at her, which is against the divine principle here, or Deva's principle here, okay, you behave like a human being, and you go and be born in the earth. And he curses the person. And for Ganga also, says also, you become his wife there. So those are the two reasons how Shantanu and Ganga were here in this world. And there is another sub-story here, that is, there are Ashtavasus. These Vasus are like special Gandharvas, or they are like gods, semi-gods. There, one person, the last person's name is Vibhavasu. They say about all names, and I don't remember all the names now. Vibhavasu is the last person's name. And Vibhavasu, he had a wife by name Varangi. They all go these Vasus and his wife Varangi are walking near sage Vasishta's ashram. When they are near Vasishta's ashram, they see the cow Surabhi or Nandini. That one, Surabhi's milk is supposed to be very famous, and it is like Amrita or like a divine nectar. And this lady, Varangi, that is Prabhavasu's wife, says, look, I want that cow. So he nags. That's the alarm for me to make final statements. So he nags her husband, look, I need to get that cow. Please get it for me. Then reluctantly, he agrees. And he gets the help of his other Vasus, other 7 Vasus. Okay. And they try to steal the cow. They take the cow and they are going. At which time, Vasishta comes to know about it. He curses them, telling, you did aparadha or real sin by stealing this. If you had asked me, perhaps I would have given you. Okay. So because you did that, you have to be born in this earth as a human earthling. Okay. So he curses them like that, and then we will pick up the story from there on in the next session. Okay. Thank you for hearing. And now we will tell the closing prayers, and then we will ask any questions. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaah gobrahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam lokah samastah sukhino bhavanto kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini deshoyam shobharahitah samastah santu nirbhayaah. Om sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvina vadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Any questions? Comments?
The Kalidasa Dushyantha idu ಬರ್ದಿದಾರಲ್ಲ that was like South Indian version you said.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
They can say North Indian, South Indian version. Yeah. So whichever one you like, you pick that line.
That's what I heard too, because Vyasa has written in Mahabharata the earlier North Indian story, and this Abhigyana Shakuntala Kalisa created in the Bhojaraja Shastra and Asthana, and that way that became South Indian. That's what somebody was studying.
Next week, Dr. Kamala will be doing the initial prayer. She has volunteered, and I want to get somebody for the 2 weeks from today. Any volunteers? These are 4 shlokas. 3 shlokas are very, very common. The 4th one is somewhat difficult, and if you practice for 2-3 times, we will know. Any volunteers? Anybody? Or should I volunteer somebody?
I can do it. I'll try.
Okay, Namrata. Thank you, ma'am. 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay. If there are no other questions, no comments, thank you, everybody. And
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you.
Good night.
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 Good night.
Namaskaram.